Hello there. So today I will be fixing a workstation. This is your regular workstation, hot air workstation, and it comes with a soldering iron also. This is the back. I will be showing how to troubleshoot and service it. So this actually sparks light when you put it on, and I'll be needing a star screwdriver to be able to take out the screws on the sides, on both sides. I also have screws on this other side and under the workstation also. You can see this set of screws here. I will be taking them all out. So let's start. So I'll start with the screws on the side, then I'll take out the screws on the other side of the workstation, and then I'll troubleshoot the workstation and fix it also. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I have a lot of videos on how to fix all kinds of equipment, including office equipment like printers and scanners and what have you, and then PABX systems, laptops, and mobile phones also, and even some household equipment. So I'd like you to like and subscribe to the channel. So basically, the reason why a workstation like this will begin to spark and begin to burn inside is due to, number one, could be power failure. Another thing could be there's a breach somewhere. Either the positive is contacting the negative terminal. So I've been able to remove the screws and I've taken out the cover right now. So this is what it looks like inside. You can see this burnt part right here. So the problem should be around this area. So I'm going to trace where this particular part is on the board, and this part is located around the power supply board. So I'll go to the power supply board and I'm going to trace and see if there's anything burnt in the power supply board, and check if the fuse is burnt, or sometimes it can just be blown capacitor. So I'm going to check all parts of the board to see if any components in the board is burnt out in any way. So I want to take out the screws holding the power supply board down to the workstation so that I can get a closer look at each of the components on it. So this is the power board, and then you can see the transformer. It appears to be okay. Okay, let me detach this. Okay, I've been able to detach it. Okay, right now. So I'm taking a closer look at the power supply board. I want to detach this cable also, so as to free the power supply board for my inspection. Okay, So the first thing I'm going to be checking on the power board is for any burnt component. Right now I've not seen any burnt component, and the capacitor, if it is bad, it is swollen most of the time. So there is no swollen capacitors on this particular power supply board. So I will assume the power supply board is okay from what I can see. You can see all the components. The capacitors appears to be okay. And then I'll check the other side to see if anything is burnt or if there's an open circuit anywhere. So right now it appears to be fine. So I'm going to trace the cable that is connected to the thermostat board. You can see, okay, I've been able to see something here. Something is burnt here. I have to get a closer look at this. Something is burnt here. Let's see if the camera will be able to pick it. You can see on the clip that is holding the power switch of the hot air workstation, of the hot air blower rather, that is burnt somewhere. You can see that this part is burnt. So I'll detach this cable to get a closer look. So with my multimeter, I want to check for continuity, because what I felt is that the heat has melted the lead there and has bridged both polarities. That is, the negative is bridging the positive polarity, which is not supposed to be so. So with my multimeter, I've been able to discover that there is a bridge somewhere. You can see there is continuity between them. On the normal circumstances, there is not supposed to be any form of continuity between these pins. You can see these pins here. There's continuity between them. So I would check for continuity here again. All these pins are individual pins. They are supposed to stand alone by themselves. So if there's continuity between them, that means something is wrong, and that can damage some components on the board. So I will just scrape out the burnt particles on the pins and then check for continuity between them. So from what I can see so far, I discovered that there's continuity between each of them. There's continuity between each of these points, which is not supposed to be so. So I will keep scraping out. So from what I can see, there's continuity here also. So what I'm trying to do is to scrape out the burnt particles on this point with the probe, so that I can get a better reading. But from what I can see so far, there is continuity between separate pins, which ought not to have that continuity between them. So what I will do is to separate the pins once more. What I felt is that as you begin to use it, because this part is located, this part has to do with the hot air itself. So the heat has been able to melt the lead there, and they now contact each other, which is not supposed to be so. Okay, I want to position my multimeter here so that you can see clearly that there is a continuity between them. You can see there is continuity between these two. There's continuity between these two also. Let's see from this other end. You can see continuity. Let's check the other end also. So I want to scrape out the particles on the point as much as possible so as to get a better reading. So since there's continuity between them, okay, let's check once more. You can see there's continuity between these two, there's continuity between these two, and there's continuity between these two also, and these are different. They have different polarities. They have positive and negative. They are positive and negative polarity. They are not supposed to contact each other, and there's not supposed to be any form of continuity between them. So now that there's continuity between them, I've been able to look at where the problem is. So what I'm going to do right now is to separate the polarities, and that should be able to solve the problem. You can see these 4 pins here. This is what I'm talking about. You can see it has been able to burn some part of the display. You can see this part of the display is burnt out. This part is, they were able to contact each other, and there's continuity between them, and that is the reason for it to be burst. You can see this is the plug, and this is the negative and the positive. They are separate. They are supposed to be separate and not to contact each other in any way, but right now they're contacting each other through the switch. So if I plug it in, it will begin to spark. So let's take another reading from here. Let's see. You can see clearly that there's continuity between these two polarities. Okay, let me position. I want to position my multimeter here again so that you see what I'm doing clearly. You can see there is continuity between them, continuity between these two also. And then when you plug, the positive contacts this negative cable, and they are not supposed to contact each other by any means at all. So what I'll do right now with my flat screwdriver, I am going to break that bridge between them, that continuity between them, and separate the lead that has been able to melt together. I will separate it with the flat screwdriver. I will separate the lead, and then as I keep separating, I will keep testing. And while you're separating, you have to be very, very careful so as not to damage the board in any way. So as I separate, I will keep doing my reading so as to know when it has been separated. You can see these two. I will just scrape out the lead that is contacting them, and then I'll check again with my multimeter to be sure everything is done. Okay, I think there's still, let me check. Let's see if I've been able to separate them. Okay, I've separated these two. So this other two needs to be separated also. So just like I said earlier, you have to be very careful when separating this so as not to damage board or create an open circuit between in the board. So I will check again with my multimeter, and then right now I think there's no continuity between them again, so I will just scrape out again once more just to be sure that everything is fine. Just a scrape out just to be sure everything is fine. So everything is fine. Right now I'm going to apply some paste on it, on the contact. The reason for the paste is so that if it begins to melt later in future, the paste will help to separate them out, and they won't have to contact each other anymore or melt together and touch each other. So thank you. That should solve the problem. Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you.